Celtics fans, gather around, because tonight's story feels like one of those rare nights when the entire building breathes the same emotion. From the moment the ball went up, you could feel that mix of tension and hunger floating through the arena, something that's been missing lately as this team stumbled through a stretch of frustrating finishes and shaky fourth quarters. But this time, even when things looked like they would fall right back into the same pattern, the Celtics refused to cave. They held firm against a Detroit squad that arrived on a hot streak, sitting at the top of the conference, playing with the confidence of a group expecting to bully their way through another victory. It almost looked like the script was writing itself early on, but Boston tore that script in half and wrote something new with every ounce of grit they had. Right out of the gate, it felt like the Celtics were dragging a boulder up a hill on every possession. Nothing was falling, not even the clean looks. You could sense the anxiety each time a shot rimmed out. There was that stretch where Derek White missed a left corner three, sprinted the baseline to the opposite corner, caught another one off an offensive rebound, and missed again. Then another rebound became a short jumper that also clanked off. And of course, Detroit rushed the other way, one simple rebound turning into an easy dunk. Plays like that can break a team's spirit, especially when you're already carrying the weight of a tough loss to Brooklyn and an ugly blown lead against Orlando. But this time, there was something different. Detroit couldn't pull away. Their lead hit double digits once, but every time they tried to stretch it, Boston clawed right back. And then came the second quarter, and everything flipped. That's when Baylor Shy Man decided the momentum belonged to him. He splashed a left corner three, then knocked down a spinning fadeaway in the lane that felt ripped out of Peyton Pritchard's personal highlight reel. But it wasn't just the scoring. In the middle of a 9-point burst, a loose ball bounced toward the top of the key, and Baylor launched himself onto the hardwood like he was diving into a pool. From the ground, he spun, whipped a behind-the-back pass into traffic, and set up a sequence that exploded into a wave of energy inside the building. Fans jumped when they realized a foul had been called Boston's way. Suddenly, you could feel that shift. The team was hustling like every possession carried 1,000 pounds, and the crowd was right there with them, feeding off the blue-collar, lunch-pail energy that Celtics fans live for. Moments later, the electricity doubled when Derek White delivered one of those plays that makes the entire arena gasp before it roars. After a missed three from Sam Hauser, Jaden Ivey tried to push the break for a one-on-one attack. Derek turned on the Jets, dropped his head, and chased him down with the kind of aerodynamic burst only he seems capable of. He poked the ball free, collected it, and immediately tossed an alley-oop to Josh Minott. Minott bobbled it in midair, but somehow nudged it into the hoop, almost guiding it like he was steering a boat in a harbor. Derek shrugged on his way back up the floor, and the crowd lost its mind. Combine that with Baylor's earlier hustle, and suddenly Boston wasn't just surviving the game. They were dictating the energy inside the arena. What made this even more impressive was what Joe Mazzulla said after the game. He didn't praise shot selection or execution. Instead, he talked about grit, about the mindset the Celtics carried onto the floor. After 2 games filled with disappointment and missed opportunities, they showed the exact kind of mental reset a team needs if it wants to hang around deep into the season. They didn't let the frustration drag them down. They didn't carry the ghosts of previous mistakes. They locked in, dug deep, and decided that tonight was going to be something different. And it wasn't just the stars. Boston's supporting cast stepped onto the court, ready to leave fingerprints all over the game. Before Derek even warmed up in the second half, before he started hitting those threes that would eventually swing the entire night, he was making play after play on defense, refusing to let cold shooting dictate his intensity. Meanwhile, the bench brought a spark that grew louder with every loose ball, every deflection, every unexpected contribution. Players who rarely find themselves in a spotlight suddenly had the stage under them, and they made every moment count. The story of this first part isn't about a clean, polished performance. It's about a team that got punched early, steadied itself, and swung back with sharper focus and harder effort. It's about the crowd that matched that energy, building a roar that grew louder with every hustle play. It's about a night when the Celtics finally looked like they were tired of letting games slip away and decided that they weren't going to be pushed around anymore. It's about resilience, grit, and a belief that even when the shots aren't falling, the game can still be won by the team that wants it more. What came next felt like the natural continuation of a team rediscovering itself. As the third quarter unfolded, Boston didn't just look more confident. They looked purposeful, as though every possession was a chance to reclaim a version of themselves that had been missing. The ball movement sharpened, the defensive rotations tightened, and the communication on the court grew increasingly vocal. You could see Derek White pointing, Peyton Pritchard clapping his hands and yelling out switches, Amari Williams pounding the hardwood after a big stop. The Celtics hadn't just woken up. They were fully engaged, fully alive, operating with the type of unity that transforms close games into defining ones. Detroit, for their part, refused to fold. Their young core pushed every advantage they could find, attacking the paint with aggression and taking advantage of any opening on the perimeter. There were stretches where Isaiah Stewart's physicality forced Boston into uncomfortable matchups, and moments where Jaden Ivey seemed determined to take over the entire game by sheer force. Cade Cunningham orchestrated their offense with a patience that made every defensive possession feel like it lasted a minute longer than it should have. And yet, every time Detroit managed to land a punch, Boston answered with one of their own. The most fascinating shift came when Boston began dictating the tempo. Early in the game, Detroit had controlled the rhythm with transition bursts and quick strikes, but now the Celtics slowed the game when they wanted to, sped it up when they needed to, and made Detroit adjust on nearly every possession. That control came from the guards, from the deliberate pace that White, Pritchard, and Baylor Shyman established. They read mismatches more quickly, attacked switches with confidence, and found the open man without hesitation. Josh Min, once again, became a crucial connector, cutting at the perfect moments, sprinting into gaps, timing screens to create just enough daylight for a teammate. There was a possession midway through the third quarter that embodied Boston's newfound poise. The initial action was defended well by Detroit, forcing Boston to reset. Instead of panicking or forcing a contested jumper, the ball swung from one side to the other. White to Hauser, Hauser to Pritchard, Pritchard back to Hauser, each pass faster than the last. Finally, Hauser drove baseline, drew two defenders, and kicked it out to Baylor Shyman at the top of the arc. The shot left his hands with the kind of calmness that doesn't belong to a rookie or a role player, but to someone who understands the weight of the moment. The ball splashed through, and the Garden roared. It wasn't just a three-point shot. It was a declaration that Boston had settled in, that the earlier chaos had become clarity. From that moment forward, the energy inside the arena shifted into something entirely different. Every defensive stop felt heavier. Every offensive possession felt richer with meaning. The crowd sensed that Boston was on the verge of taking control for good, and the players felt it too. The defense rose in intensity, with rotations snapping into place just as Detroit initiated their sets. Amari Williams delivered two massive contests at the rim, one of which sent the ball bouncing near half court. Pritchard chased it down, saved it from going out of bounds, and flicked it backward to Derek White, who immediately pushed the pace. White found Min streaking down the lane, and Min powered through contact for an and one that sent the bench into chaos. Even the mistakes began to feel like part of a larger momentum. There was a possession where Hauser missed a wide-open three that would have tied the game, but instead of hanging his head, he sprinted back on defense, rotated just in time to cut off a drive, and forced Detroit into a rushed mid-range jumper. Boston grabbed the rebound, and within seconds, Hauser was right back on the other side, hitting the exact same shot he had missed. That sequence captured perfectly what the night had become, less about perfection and more about persistence. As the fourth quarter began, Boston finally took the lead for the first time since the early minutes of the game. It wasn't a dramatic shot or a flashy play. It was a gritty putback from Amari Williams after a scramble under the basket. The kind of basket that feels like a reward for all the small things a team does right. The Garden erupted, not because the shot was impressive, but because it represented the culmination of everything that had been building since the second quarter. With the lead came the toughest challenge, holding it. Detroit pushed back hard, and there were brief stretches where they regained momentum. Ivy hit a tough step-back three. Cunningham threaded a perfect pass through two defenders. Stewart muscled in a putback that quieted the arena for a moment. But Boston never lost their composure again. The team that had looked scattered and hesitant in the first quarter was now controlling emotions with the steadiness of a veteran group. Derek White became the anchor. After struggling in the first half, he dominated the final minutes with the kind of calm aggression that has defined his time in Boston. He attacked the lane, got to the free throw line, and made plays that brought the team together. There was a moment when he missed a floater, but immediately stripped the ball from Detroit on the rebound attempt, reset the offense, and fed Pritchard for a deep three that blew the lid off the Garden. But the defining sequence of the night came in the final 3 minutes. Detroit had cut the lead to 2, the tension felt thick again, and everyone braced for another stressful finish. Boston ran a high screen for White, who slipped a bounce pass to Baylor Shyman. Shyman drove, drew contact, and kicked the ball out at the very last second to Josh Min. Min didn't think. He launched the shot instantly. Swish! The arena detonated, and the Celtics never looked back. The final minutes became a showcase of determination and discipline. Boston closed out possessions with patience, hit their free throws, and refused to give Detroit the transition opportunities that had hurt them early. When the buzzer finally sounded, the celebration wasn't wild. It was relieved, emotional, and deeply satisfying. It wasn't just a win. It was a rediscovery of identity, a reminder that resilience and belief can shift the trajectory of a season. By the time the players walked off the court, you could feel that something had changed. Not in a dramatic, headline-grabbing way, but in a foundational one. This wasn't just a game the Celtics survived. It was a game they built, possession by possession, until the outcome felt earned. It was a night where role players shined, where effort became the storyline, where the Garden rediscovered its voice, and where the team reminded itself of what it is capable of when it refuses to quit. And throughout that closing stretch, one truth became undeniable, something that had been forming since the second quarter. Boston didn't win just because of talent. They won because they chose to fight for every detail, every possession, every second. The defense became the beating heart of the team. The collective effort became the fuel, and the Stars embraced responsibility exactly when it mattered most. The kind of combination that turns a difficult game into an internal milestone, one of those reference points that a team carries emotionally for the rest of the season. But before we continue, please remember to subscribe to the channel and give the video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest news about the Boston Celtics. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. Whispers are turning into full-blown chatter across the NBA as rumors swirl that Devin Booker, the sharpshooting star known for lighting up scoreboards, has reportedly been announced as the latest addition to the Boston Celtics. Sources close to the situation hint at a move that could shake the Eastern Conference to its core, sparking speculation about the Celtics' ambitions and what this means for the league's balance of power. Booker's name alone brings visions of high-flying offense, clutch moments, and endless scoring streaks, and fans are already imagining the green and white jerseys with his signature on the back. Insiders say the Celtics are eager to add another elite scorer to a roster that has long been competitive but has often fallen just short of championship glory. Booker's ability to pour in points seemingly will make him a perfect complement to the team's current stars, who already bring intensity, defense, and leadership to the hardwood. Conversations in locker rooms and on social media have been buzzing nonstop as analysts dissect how Boston could integrate such a prolific offensive force without disrupting the chemistry that has defined their recent campaigns. The excitement isn't just coming from the Celtics faithful. Across the league, rival fans are speculating on how the dynamics in the East might change. Matchups against Booker are feared as much as they are anticipated, with opposing defenses likely bracing for an onslaught that could redefine what it means to guard a superstar. The possibility of a Boston backcourt that can rival any in history has ignited imagination among pundits, betting circles, and casual fans alike. Meanwhile, whispers suggest that this move could be a statement, a bold declaration that Boston is not just playing to contend, they're playing to dominate. Although official details are scarce and the front office remains tight-lipped. The rumor mill shows no signs of slowing down. Every highlight reel from past seasons is being revisited, every three-point bomb dissected, as Celtics enthusiasts picture a team capable of consecutive scoring explosions that could leave arenas across the league in awe. Whether the deal is finalized or still in motion, one thing is certain. Devin Booker's potential arrival in Boston has electrified conversations, fueled speculation, and left everyone asking the same question. Are we witnessing the birth of a new powerhouse in the East? That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Boston Celtics, please subscribe to our channel and give the video a like. We always appreciate your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.